What's going on, everyone? I am just a typical, average American here today to react and learn about these six surprising ways that Britain and the United States are apparently very, very different from each other. So, I would say that most Americans are aware that Britain is different from us, but with that being said, to be honest, we usually just think about very sort of obvious or surface level kind of things like the British accent. Your accent is different, and British food is different, and you guys like tea. And those are the sorts of things that a lot of Americans would list as like differences, very sort of obvious things that you've heard a lot. So today, I really want to check out this video here by Lost in the Pond and learn about some of these more interesting, frankly obscure or lesser known differences between Britain and the US. So let's take a look here.
Now, I could probably write an entire book on all of the many differences between British and American cars. I mean, you've got the terminology differences like boot versus trunk, bonnet versus hood, and windscreen versus windshield.
What? What? Hold on. I can't let that one slide. Bonnet for hood? Is that? I have never heard about that. Now, although this is a good example of something that I think a lot of Americans are aware of, like we know that there are different words that we use in the United States, and you guys use some different words in the UK, like crisps and trousers and stuff like. But bonnet, I have never heard that one. Isn't that like a hat? Or so we call it a hood. You call it but a hood it also could be something on a hoodie, which has to do with clothing. So I guess it goes both ways. You could really fry your brain thinking about this stuff too long. But anyway, that jumped out at me. Bonnet. I don't even think that's one of the six surprising differences that he's trying to talk about. But cars are different? Really? That would surprise me. Like, you guys in the UK drive on the other side of the road, right? The left side of the road. I'm aware of that. But I think most Americans know that too. So what's this? What's different with cars? Because, like, a car, there's only so many ways to, like, do a car, you know what I mean? Like, a car is a car. How are the cars different?
But one thing not many of us seem to talk about are these license plates, or as they're known in the UK, number plates. And you might think, well, what is there to talk about, Lawrence? Well, to me, an awful lot, because one of the first things I noticed driving from the airport to my in-laws' house is that America has way more license plate designs than Britain. This is largely because, and this is a fascinating feature of American life, American license plates are issued by the state where the vehicle is registered.
This is actually cool hearing this from like. So he's British, so hearing from like a British perspective of what he has noticed here in the United States, like I would never have thought to even think about that our license plates, what he said you call them number plates, I think, are different. I mean, that's definitely something we don't think about, but we definitely like it's kind of a fun thing in the US, you could say, because you're like driving around and you can see where people are from. So on the number plates, like in Britain, is there anything besides numbers? Does it say like the town you're from or like the area that you're from, or I don't know, district? Or because in the US the license plate is like this identifier, like both formally for the government and also like, yeah, that guy, look at his car. He's from Delaware. Okay. Oh, that guy's from Kansas. Interesting. What's he doing here? Like that's that's what we do.
So on that drive, I mostly saw Indiana plates because I was in Indiana. But I remember seeing another one that said Florida on it, which prompted one of the people that we were driving with to say, honey, you're not in Kansas anymore, even though they were from Florida. It made no sense. In Britain, our license plates don't feature artwork. Instead, it's just black letters on either.
Oh. This is different. I mean, in many ways, it's similar. Let's be honest. It's a collection of digits and numbers and letters and a little different format, but it doesn't. Oh, each part has like a specific meaning, area code, age, and random letters. Your license plate, number plates seem to maybe have more meaning than ours. I feel like ours are just random digits that nobody knows what they mean. And it just says the UK, and that's optional. Whereas here, it has to say the state that you're from. And there's also many license plates, now that I think about it. If you go to the license branch, you can like fill out paperwork and get like custom license plates. Or if you're part of the military, you can get that one. Or if you're a veteran, there's others. Or there's like very interesting license plate designs. Like there's a lot of them. That's definitely a thing that I've kind of like not stopped and thought about for a while. But you got, man, I'm sorry to say, you guys might be kind of like missing out on this kind of.
A yellow or a white background. That's it. But honestly, that day, and I think every day since, I've noticed something else about American roads that doesn't get talked about nearly enough, and it pertains to very specific design choices of our road signs. Basically, I was really surprised by how wordy American road signage is. And
I don't know what that says about us. That's interesting, because that's another thing I would have thought would be kind of standardized. Like around the world, I feel like there's a lot of things that are standardized, like if the US used the metric system, it would be measurement. But everyone who's serious uses metric. That's standardized. And math, you know, like numbers and like. And in another way, you would think like traffic signs, although that's not like a science or anything, but there should be a standard way for the sake of safety and clarity for how traffic signs work, I would think. So I'm actually surprised this is different here in the US versus Britain. I'm surprised.
How it relies a lot less than Britain on pictograms. And I know what you're thinking. Ooh, Lawrence, Britain has words in its road signs. What are you talking about? And yeah, of course, occasionally this is true. I mean, our...
So your stop sign looks exactly the same as ours, and it says stop.
Stop sign is almost identical to the American stop sign.
Okay.
But that is largely where the similarities stop. Because, for example, while American speed limit signs will write something like speed limit 65, Britain just expects you to know what the number means without any further explanation.
What? Why do we put so much... This is another thing I've never thought about. There's so many things that when you just spend your whole life, especially for Americans, like... a lot of us never like explore outside our country, never leave or go to anywhere else, or we're a bit sheltered. So for a lot of us, it's like, this is just normal, having speed limit signs and stuff with lots of words. I've never thought about that as being abnormal. But why wouldn't it just be the speed limit like this? Why does it have to say speed limit? I'm afraid to say... The first thing that came to my mind is, do we need more help? Do we need more clarity in the US? Is that what it is? Are we dumber? Is it, I didn't want to say it. Like, why do we need it spelled out so blatantly like that? Like, like it says speed limit is this number. Like, we're gonna forget that's what that number is? Maybe.
number means without any further explanation. Similarly, while American no entry signs are indicated by the words no entry, Britain figured we'll just do the same thing and you'll have to figure out what a white rectangle inside
You guys literally have like some identical signage, but you skip the text because you guys can memorize what the symbol means. And I'm afraid to say this actually makes sense to me. I think a lot of Americans, especially driving, their heads are in the clouds so much. I'm sure myself included. I hate to admit it, that like Americans might see this and kind of go blank and be like, I don't know, what was it? I learned about that 30 years ago when I got my driver's license. But if it says like no entry, there's no ambiguousness, there's no misinterpreting it. It's just kind of sad that we need that.
a red circle means. In America, a one-way is indicated by an arrow, but also the words one-way. In Britain, it's just an arrow. America, once again with words, indicates a dead end, with the words dead end. In Britain, this is, for some reason, indicated by a hammer. Again,
he's not kidding. I'm astounded by this. This actually makes me think we're dumb. Like, I thought this was just normal, having text everywhere. Oh my god.
Back in America, just like the dead end sign, but on an orange background, road work ahead. In Britain, it's a person digging or struggling with an umbrella. It really is hard to tell. And then things take a bit of a casual turn, because here in America, a pedestrian crossing is often indicated by the words ped-zing, which just feels like a child wrote that.
I've actually never seen this sign. I don't know, maybe he's in a part of Indiana where they use this sign, or I've never seen this. So in my experience, this is not a comment. This is confusing to me. Frankly, we don't even need pedestrian crossing signs in 99% of the US because we don't walk anywhere. I'm not joking. Like, we drive. We don't walk. You don't see people out crossing the street. Like, this isn't even needed.
So we'll move on and acknowledge the fact that both countries have two pretty common signs to indicate railways or railroads. In both cases, America uses an X to indicate death, danger, or the X-Men, whereas in Britain, I used to have lovely pictograms of choo-choo train, and this makes me sound like...
That is nice. That's fun. You would think this would work perfectly well in the US too. I wonder which of us came up with the sign for trains first. Because you guys definitely have the more fun one.
Like a child. On the one hand, the American version is possibly more useful because it spells it out for you. On the other hand, it's less useful than the British one if you're visiting the country and you know very little English.
That's true. That's a great point. That's a great point. Also something we don't think about. Here in the US, it's like built for English. I would expect that's largely true in the UK as well, right? Like, there's a lot of English. But if you do have internet, like symbols, like, I don't think you can argue. They're just like kind of better in many ways.
Heck, it would read about as well to me as a Spanish give way sign every time I visit Spain. Oh, just remembered that when I first moved here, I was absolutely obsessed with American money, and not in the same way that a billionaire tech bro might be, but the way in particular that its notes are designed. You have to understand that I come from a country where the notes, as we call them, are not just differentiated by their color palette, but also their size. Basically, the more it's...
Okay. I've definitely done a video in the past where I've looked at British money and like the euro. Currencies in other countries are very interesting, and this British money is a great example. Actually, I'm not sure if I have seen this one before, because these look really cool. I would think I would remember this. I don't know, but these are beautiful to me. This is like a work of art. And they're like different sizes. I'm sure at some point I've seen these. Maybe. I don't know. But I've definitely seen the euro. This is like, compared to American money, like physical money, I think this is like vastly superior. Like, even just from an aesthetic point of view, this looks really cool. Yeah, so it's funny that this guy who's British, he thinks American money is interesting because I think ours is kind of boring.
Worth, the larger it is printed. So if I'm just dipping into my wallet, I can see and feel instantly what kind of note I'm pulling out. Whereas in America, there's this big mystery surrounding it.
So he's talking about how in the UK your money is different sizes, which would be good if you like have problems seeing or whatever, like, or like he's saying, if you want to just reach in and maybe, couldn't you really reach in and feel the difference? Anyway, it sounds like a smart thing to do.
Makes the whole process incredibly exciting. You pull out a big wad of cash from your wallet and you can't quite tell how much it is. Is it going to be
Yeah.
7 ones or 6 20s in a one? And in my
That's a good point. When you have like a group, when you have a wad of money, a bunch of different ones, it's really, you can't like quickly discern them from each other.
case, it is 6 ones and a 20. Still, these days, that is about enough for a coffee at Starbucks. And just to show my English friends what I'm talking about, that's a 20, that's a 1, similar colours and...
Yeah, like compared to the British money that he showed earlier, these are different bills, and it's like, how they look so incredibly similar. I mean, obviously, there's differences, like, but they look really similar.
exact same size. Now, when I first arrived at my in-laws' house, do you know what the first thing I noticed was after the smell of cigarettes? It was all of the awards on all of the shelves, an array of trophies from band practice, some medals for music. And while this probably makes it sound like I married Whitney Houston, it is not uncommon in American households for families to showcase the successes of their children. And it's not uncommon for children to win awards. America loves awards.
This is so interesting because this is like, again, hearing it from the British point of view, like that this is strange. This is so normal to me. Yes, and it just makes me like question everything and think like, in the US, are we obsessed with awards? Yeah, I guess we get a lot of them throughout your whole life for all sorts of achievements, both legitimate and not. Certainly for sports, and I think what you can boil it down to is we certainly in the United States place a huge emphasis on winning, or at least achievement, but definitely winning. If you win, you get an award. So we create a competition out of everything, band recitals, or I could see where that could be construed as a little strange. And it definitely shapes American culture, that's for sure.
Loves handing out awards to everybody. In Britain, we're a bit more shy about that kind of thing. We don't want people to get too big for their boots. So the only award that I won in my entire 26 years there was this art.
Yeah. Like, I know he's joking a little bit, but it's true. In the US, I think we purposefully want American kids and like to feel like a little ego, like okay, yeah, I just got like the award for the best finger painting in kindergarten. Like, okay, I'm pretty good. Like, feel a little something about themselves, which can be obviously taken too far. I don't know, maybe we do, but it's, I also think it's kind of nice.
Prize when I was 11. And between that silver play button there and the occasional award for writing, I've now won more awards in America than I ever did in Britain. Which you might think, Lawrence, you could have won both of these awards in Britain. Aren't you just showing off your awards? Yes. But basically what I noticed was all of these homes that had all of these awards and trophies for all of their aspiring and successful children told me that Americans are just better about celebrating themselves, whereas in Britain...
That's it. We like to celebrate ourselves. Like, and maybe we could be a little more modest or humble, but we like to celebrate us. And like, I literally have a huge box from my childhood of like 50 trophies from school and soccer or football, or as a kid, baseball, for all sorts of things. Like, yeah. Like, this is so true. I just keep them all in a giant box, or they would be everywhere.
We don't want anyone to get too big for their boots. So a simple well done, mate, on your art prize. My aunt could have done better than that, and she's been dead 30 years. That was Uncle Toby.
Huh. So in Britain, this is more of an attitude of like, don't think too much of yourself. Like, let's stay grounded, down to earth. Let's be humble. And at the same time, obviously, you guys must celebrate achievement. Maybe it's just a higher standard.
Here's something that I never expected to find. Even something very basic, like windows, which we take for granted, are very different on either side of the pond.
What? Windows? Or what? This is like cars. Like, what do you can't tell me windows are different. Okay. How?
And we're not just talking about the fact that Americans often like to shove air conditioners in these and that British people don't believe in air conditioning. I'm not even going to talk about those bug shield things that American homes have in the windows. Instead, I'm talking about the window itself. Because
yeah, we do love our air conditioning. He's absolutely right. I've heard that in Britain, maybe a lot of parts of Europe, because of your climates, you guys don't really do air conditioning. I'm still wrapping my head around that, but that's not even what he's really talking about here.
In American houses, windows lift up, in theory. Jesus, that's heavy. And that's part of the problem with this method.
How else would they? You lift them up. And honestly, very, very few people in America even bother to do this. This is like, technically the windows work, but nobody like opens their window, like, from my experience.
If I let go, it will just drop and all the glass will break. So I'll just do that. Whereas here, in what is definitely Britain and not my basement downstairs, windows have a tendency to open out. And you might think, well, if that's the case, where do you guys put your bug screen? And
This reminds me of like windows that I would have seen like as a child in cartoons. Like, I'm aware of windows that open like a refrigerator door. But that to me is fancy. You don't see that much in the US. I can't think of the last time I saw one. That is so nice. If this is standard in Britain, talk about an easier way to use Windows, and I think it actually looks quite nice. Huh. I had no idea.
It's a great question, and the answer is we don't, for reasons that are still not clear to me. So on this score, I think I prefer the British way.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to whisper at this moment because that's what they do in the BBC nature documentaries. And as it happens, I'm about to talk about wildlife. But not America's admittedly abundant wildlife, rather its lack of it. At least when it comes to one particular creature. You see, when I first moved here, I must have been in such awe at the sound of crickets and the sight of fireflies that it took quite a while before I was milling around in a garden and suddenly thought to myself, where are all the hedgehogs? Like,
Where are the hedgehogs? That is the last thing I thought he was going to say. I've been like on the edge of my seat the last minute, like, what's the difference between our wildlife? What's he getting to here? Hedgehogs? He's looking for it. You guys have hedgehogs running around like squirrels? That would be what I would think of, like squirrels, or you see birds, or not too much crazy stuff really in the US. Hedgehogs are like exotic pets for like very eccentric Americans. You guys have wild hedgehogs just running around? This is actually a thing?
in Britain, even though hedgehogs have been in decline for decades, you still expect to see them every summer. What do we get here? Possums, raccoons, and those things that look like domestic dogs. A coyote.
Sure, raccoons. A lot of raccoons, yeah.
But I wasn't seeing any hedgehogs. Did this mean that the coyotes had eaten them all? No, it turns out hedgehogs are not native to North America.
I've never seen a hedgehog in real life. I didn't even... I think of them so much of like zoos and pets. I forgot they can even be in the wild.
Will not find them in the wild here. And honestly, when I talk about cultural exchange, it's these little details that matter. Because in a country that has fully embraced Sonic the Hedgehog, on this occasion, it kept all of the gold rings for itself. That's a Sonic reference. So that's it for this episode. And
That was so cool. That is fascinating. This is perfect. Great video. This is by Lost in the Pond. Talk about these are things that, like, I had no idea about, that are huge differences between the things that are kind of strange here in the US and things that are kind of strange to me about Britain. And, I like when things are strange. It's interesting, it's different, it's cool. So, and there's also some things here that I thought Britain maybe does a little better, like the signage. If we could do the signage, and the windows probably, but we have lots of awards. I don't know. There's cool stuff from all cultures, I think. So this was really cool. I didn't know about this, so I enjoyed this. Anyway, if you enjoyed this, feel free to give this video a like or leave a comment with your thoughts on any of these cool differences between our two countries. And if you're interested in more videos like this, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching, and see you next time.